Welcome back to the guide, Exile. In this video we're going to be covering the following topics. Now, because Path of Exile has become such a big game, I'm going to have to break this section up into smaller sections, which are shown here. So Path of Exile currently has 4 acts, with the 5th releasing with 3.0 expansion. As mentioned before, it also has 3 difficulties: Normal, Cruel, and Merciless. These are also subject to change with a 3.0 patch, where you play through the 4 acts again with harder and higher level enemies and character resistance penalties for a total of 12 acts. During this leveling process, you will complete quests that can reward you with gear or passive refund points and even character bonuses. In each of these acts, there is a main town where you receive and turn in quests, buy and sell items from vendors or other players, and store items in your stash. As you will notice, there is a waypoint in the town, which allows teleportation to other waypoints regardless of the act or difficulty. Waypoints are found in zones outside of the town, but not all zones have a waypoint. The map legend on the world menu denotes which zones have a waypoint. Before you can use a waypoint, you must activate it by first clicking on it inside the zone. Now, all zones aside from towns are instanced to the player or the player's party, so only you or your party members will be able to interact with zones outside of town. New zones can be created by control clicking on the zone entrance, and zones will disappear after 8 to 15 minutes of no player inhabitants. Now, once we get into these zones, we're going to encounter many different things. Now, to break it down even further, we're going to look at all the different encounter types that can happen. I know it's a lot of sections, but I'm just trying to break it down as best I can. Each zone will have different monster types based on its zone type, as well as normal, magic, rare, and unique versions of those monster types. Magic, rare, and unique monsters provide higher experience per kill, as well as more quantity and rarity of drops, so you will definitely be wanting killing all of the magic and rare monsters in zones. Every zone will also have one or more unique mini-bosses in it. These do have a higher rarity drop table, but aren't necessarily required to be killed, and don't always drop very good loot. Now here's some more special type of encounters you will face throughout the entire game, leveling and endgame. Bloodline and Nemesis monsters. Be sure to watch out for purple magic and orange rare monsters. These are Bloodline and Nemesis monster types respectively. They can have special modifiers that can be very deadly. For example, Bloodline monsters with Bearer's affix will drop timed elemental explosions on the ground upon death. These explosions do massive elemental damage and can instantly kill a character if not paying attention to the ground. A deadly Nemesis affix is Corrupting Blood. Every time you hit a Corrupting Blood Nemesis monster, you will gain a stack of Corrupting Blood, which is visualized as a red orb that rotates around the character and also in the buff bar. This effect is stacked as fast as you attack and does the damage based on the damage output of the monster. This means some Corrupting Blood stacks can kill your character very fast. Luckily, this debuff can be removed with a bleed immunity and removal flask. Another common enemy type that is faced are Rogue Exiles. These are unique NPC exiles that use player style skills and can do a lot of damage as well as be very evasive. However, all exiles drop full sets of gear on death, so it is always worth killing them for a chance of getting a good gear piece or a high rarity item. Shrines appear in zones randomly and provide a very powerful buff to the monsters around it until the player touches it and takes the buff for themselves. This buff will last for 45 seconds and can be stacked with other shrine buffs in it if there are numerous in the area. It is always worth taking these so you're not giving power to the monsters. The good old Tormented Spirits. These are green ghosts that can infect rare monsters and unique monsters while passing through and empowering all other monster types. They will run from the player in fear, letting the player guide them in the direction they wish to go, though that doesn't always happen. Letting a ghost empower or infest a monster will grant the monster special powers depending on the ghost type. They are generally only worth the hassle to infest rare or unique monsters if they are within a screen's distance. Otherwise, just try and push them through some monsters and hopefully they give you some good loot. Corrupted zones are encountered randomly in zones and have modifiers similar to maps, making them more difficult. At the end of the zone, you will encounter a boss specific to that corrupted zone, and upon killing them, you will be able to open the vessel that is there. This vessel can contain Vol skill gems, which are more powerful versions or unique versions of their base variation, that are used like cooldown skills. These require monster souls, like flasks, to charge. Vol skills that are useful to all different types of builds include Vol Haste, Vol Discipline, and Vol Clarity. Vessels also drop fragments, dawn, noon, dusk, and midnight. These fragments can be used together in a map device to open the Adziri endgame boss encounter. They can also be used in a map device to spawn more corrupted zones so you can farm fragments or skills you are missing. Strongboxes house 3 packs of monsters waiting to ambush anybody who opens it, as well as some loot. Strongboxes like gear can be crafted with currency to alter or improve the contained monsters and loot within it. There are many different types of strongbox bases, and I hope to explain how you should roll them. Arcanists, Cartographers, and Diviners boxes are quite rare, and always worth stopping to roll properly. For Arcanists and Diviner boxes, it is generally worth rolling the box with Orbs of Alteration and Orbs of Augmentation to get the suffix contains additional items, or percentage increased quantity of contained items, and then augmenting the prefix and regaling on another mod. You can also gamble by rolling with Alchemy Orbs and Orbs of Scouring, or Chaos Orbs if you feel like spending a bit more, to hopefully get both of those suffixes in one try, but the contents generally do not pay back for the input when using those higher tier currencies. Cartographer strongboxes are really rare, generally only spawning in low tier maps and very rarely in high tier maps. It is generally worth rolling the box in similar manner to the previous boxes, but this time instead looking for the suffix plus to chest level, and then trying to get the quantity rolls. This will increase the drop level of the items within the chest, increasing the tiers of the maps that can drop from it. For all other boxes, it is generally worth at least making them magic with 2 mods if they are of normal quality before opening them. If you are in high tier maps, it is worth, like with Cartographer's boxes, to get the plus to chest level in hopes of getting high tier gear or map drops from them. Ensure to watch out for certain affixes like freezing upon opening, detonating nearby corpses, explodes upon opening, and casts Ice Nova upon opening. These mods can quickly kill characters of any level, so make sure to have your freeze flasks ready and your movement skills ready to escape the box after opening it. Essences, as mentioned before, are a newer type of crafting currency that was introduced with the Essence League. I won't be able to explain all the functions of essences in this guide, but in essence, they function like Orbs of Alchemy or Chaos Orbs, depending on their tier, and roll an item with 1 guaranteed affix while leaving the remaining affixes random. Essences are obtained from frozen essence monsters that are randomly spawned in zones, much like all of the other mechanics. These monsters will have a nameplate above them denoting which essences they contain. Each essence empowers the monster with special powers, so the more essences a monster has, the more life and attack types it'll have. Monsters can contain up to 4 essences, each up to a tier level of 5. Essences can come between tiers 1 and 5 naturally and be upgraded all the way to tier 7. The number of fingers of the essence denotes its tier, and they can be upgraded by rendering 3 of the same tier, giving 1 of the next tier. As their tier increases, the power of the affixes increase, and these are best used for crafting items you may need while leveling, or at the end game with higher level essences. Prophecies are like a second quest system, with various rewards for leveling and endgame alike. Prophecies can be gained after you save Navali from the Climb Zone in Act 1. She can then be found in towns or invited to player hideouts. Prophecies can be purchased from Navali with silver coins, which are found the same way as regular currency through monster drops. Each prophecy costs 1 silver coin, and you can have a maximum of 7 prophecies active at a time. Prophecies are also tied to the difficulty they are purchased in, so if you buy one in normal, you will have to complete it within normal difficulty. Once you trigger a prophecy in a zone, or complete one, it will be removed from your prophecy page. You can also remove a prophecy manually from your prophecy page by sealing it with Navali. This will cost more silver coins to do, and will turn the prophecy into an item that can be traded and used to be placed back into the prophecy page. When starting a league, it is worth using your coins as you get them in normal difficulty in hopes of useful rewards. As the league goes on, it is worth saving your silver coins to use only in merciless difficulty, as if you were making new characters. Here are some prophecies that carry high value and are generally worth sealing and selling. One quest you will have to complete in Act 2 is dealing with the Bandits. This quest is special as you can choose a permanent stat buff for your character. These can be changed later in the game, but at a heavy cost. You can either help one of the bandits or help the quest giver, Aramir. The bandits are Creighton in the Broken Bridge, Alira in the Western Forest, and Oak in the Wetlands. Helping Aramir will always provide you with one passive skill point, while helping the other bandits will provide you with the following rewards based on the difficulty. It is always recommended to help Oak in normal difficulty if you are a life build, otherwise you can pick the reward that is most efficient for your build and pathing in your tree. These rewards won't make or break your build, so don't worry if you pick the wrong one. It's all about finding what works and building your character through trial and error. Now, after reviewing all of these encounter types while leveling, it is important to keep your gear and your flasks up to your character level. As the axe and difficulties increase, there are massive damage increases, mainly in the forms of physical damage. So as mentioned millions of times before, it is very important to have a well-rolled defensive utility flask, such as a granite, as well as freeze and bleed removal flasks. Recall that you can lose experience in higher difficulties, -5 in Cruel and -10 in Merciless. However, you cannot de-level. Players can also receive experience penalties, which are dictated by the level range safe zone, on both sides of their level. Killing monsters within this level range will incur no experience penalties, and the player's safe zone is determined by the following formula. This means while leveling, you will have about a 3 to 6 level safe zone on either side of your character, where you incur no experience penalties. This penalty removes the ability to be rushed to maximum level by a high-level friend in a high-level zone, and encourages playing zones around your level, so ensure you are within 3 to 6 levels of the zone on either side of your level. Speaking of high-level friends, it is also important to note that experience in parties is also scaled, such that it is equal for all members as if they were still playing solo, as long as they are close to each other in level. Higher level members will take a higher percentage share of the experience gained over the lower level player, leaving them even further behind. So as a rule of thumb, ensure that you are within 1 to 5 levels of your party members while leveling. Once you have completed all of the acts, roughly around level 65 to 70, you do not have to complete Act 4 Merciless, only performing the Indomitable Spirit quest for the final quest skill point will suffice. You will gain access to the mapping system at the Eternal Laboratory in Act 3, which allows you to customize the content you are going to put your character through, as well as increasing the difficulty and the rewards you get from it. I'll be touching on mapping later on in this section.